Hello, how is everyone today? I'm curious, do you know why your protagonist is desperate for transformation? Are they desperate for transformation? Because that's something that you really want to make sure is happening in their arc. Even if you have a flat arc character, they're going to have some degree of change, some degree of growth, some degree of transformation, because that's the way humans operate. And we cannot go through events or interact with people or have any kind of movement through life without growing, changing, or learning a lesson along the way. And yes, this is still true for flat arc characters. They still are going to learn about their surroundings, their community, the people that are around them, which helps them make decisions to continue on their own personal journeys. So there are actually two questions that I think that would be really helpful for you to understand and get clear on so that you can make sure that your protagonist is desperate for transformation. The first one is just check in to make sure you know what their story goal is. And this is the big goal, the thing that they want more than anything else in this world. And it's going to take them the whole book to achieve it. Assuming that is what happens if they're on a positive arc. But it's basically the big thing that they're after, okay? Whether it's to solve a mystery or to find the treasure, to get married, okay? What is the big story goal? Do you know why they're wanting this goal? Because if we don't have a really clear motivation, if they just want, can you hear my dog? She's snoring. Sorry about that. You can hear her in the background. If you don't know about the motivation, if you're not really sure about why they want to accomplish this goal, then you're going to have a really difficult time drumming up emotion and responses for your character. You might not have a problem coming up with events, external events for your character to go through along their journey, but for them to emotionally respond and to have reactions, whether they're sad, happy, angry, frustrated, discouraged, whatever, you're going to have a difficult time figuring out what their emotional response is if we don't know why they want to have this goal in the first place. So check in with yourself about that. Make sure that you know their story goal and their motivation behind the story goal. What is their driving force? This will help you figure out their emotional responses that you need for them throughout their whole story journey, so that you can also figure out how they're going to be transforming along the way. How is their character going to be changing? Because their character is going to change based on their emotions. It's as much as we need the external stuff, their change is all internal. So that is all emotion. So be clear on that. The other question you should definitely ask yourself is, was there at any point in their past a time when they tried to achieve this story goal? And you can go back as far as you need to. Maybe it's something that you need to go back when they were 10 years old. Maybe you only need to go back 8 months prior to when the story starts. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But it is important to understand whether or not they tried to achieve this goal in the past. And because I want to know, as a writer, if my character did try and whether or not they failed and why. What about their past and this story goal is are butting heads against each other to make it more difficult for your character to achieve it now? Does that make sense? So if it's something that they tried to do 5 years ago and they failed, what was that failure like for them? Because you have to be setting up obstacles along the way for your character. It can't be easy for your character to achieve this goal. And, maybe they didn't try to achieve it before. This could be a brand new story goal for them that they suddenly have gotten, at the start of your story, they've been introduced to this new information and suddenly they're like, oh yes, I'm going to go after that. And that's a different situation. What I'm more concerned about is whether or not this is something that they've wanted all along, and they tried to get it before and they failed. If that's the case, can you bring that in to the current story to help you define your characters, their internal flaw even more? The bigger block, I shouldn't say bigger, I should say the more compelling blocks that for your character is always internal. I mean, you can have the external goals like maybe not enough money or, just not in the right job or still, married to the wrong person, whatever that might be. But those aren't nearly as compelling as the internal blocks that we suffer from. The excuses we make for ourselves and the reasons we give ourselves to stop us from making things happen for ourselves, for finding success, for getting the guy, for being successful in our journeys. We tend to stop ourselves. That is much more compelling than anything external. So ask yourself, as far as your history, your character's history, at what point in their past had they tried to achieve this goal or something even similar to this goal and they failed? And how is that failure impacting them now? This will help you a lot in building that internal, the growth that they need, that actually makes them desperate to transform. That their fear, overcoming a fear, overcoming a limitation, a self-imposed limitation, will absolutely trigger the desperation that you need for your character in their journey, in their quest. They'll understand, well, you know what? I need to face my fear. I need to deal with this internal flaw, this internal limitation, because if I don't, I'm just going to keep hitting the same external roadblocks along the way because I have not changed enough inside to learn how to overcome those external roadblocks. If you ask yourself those two questions, brainstorm. I love journaling through my questions, taking some time, even setting a timer so that you don't, go down too far of a rabbit trail, setting a timer for 15, 20 minutes, and just doing a lot of character discovery on these two questions. You will find some interesting little tidbits about your character that you probably didn't know. And this will help you start creating that desperation for transformation so that your character has a really explosive and believable character arc. All right, I hope you found this helpful. I'd love to hear from you. How is your character shaping up for you? And if you have any questions, definitely leave them below. I'm happy to chat with you about them. Have a writerly day.